So recently, Overwatch 2 dropped their Season 17 trailer, Powered Up, which, by the way, they spelled June without an E at the end, an interesting design choice. We know that we'll be receiving collaborations with this season or in the future. We'll be receiving a G.I. Joe crossover, as a season overview was published on Siege.gg stating this, as well as Genji showing a preview of his crossover skin being Snake Eyes in the trailer itself. Ramachu was also shown alongside him in his default skin, so he may be receiving one as well. It's also believed that we'll also be receiving a Nerf collaboration, or maybe just a funky summer game mode, due to the foam darts that were spotlighted in the trailer. This could be portrayed in either skins for characters such as Farah and Soldier 76, or as just weapon skins that are free game for anyone. However, what if I were to tell you that I believe a third collab could come into fruition? And no, I'm not talking about the silly game references that the trailer depicts, such as Bastion and Diva playing Space Invaders, or Reaper and Wrecking Ball playing Pac-Man. I believe that at some point in the near future, we'll be receiving a Mortal Kombat collaboration. My evidence towards this is that in the trailer, Widowmaker and Reaper are facing each other in a 1v1 2D fighting game setting. You could call this a reference to the recent Street Fighter collab we received in Season 16, however, I do not believe that's the case. If you look at the health bars above the scenery, these are clearly a one-to-one copy of Mortal Kombat 11's health bar system. You can either have this version of the health bar, or the more detailed version for gaming fanatics such as myself who like to know the exact number of things. Either way, you can't convince me otherwise that these aren't the Mortal Kombat 11 health bars, even if they were just a cute joke. It's too on the nose and identical. We're already now used to the idea of Overwatch 2 showing early collaboration things in plain sight in their new season trailer without actually naming said collab until later on. Look at how Widowmaker used her Cammy emote, yet sporting her Hero of Grace Overwatch themed skin in this season 16 trailer. That went over everyone's heads initially, but no one realised until the Street Fighter collaboration trailer dropped that that's where the emote came from. Even though they used the Mortal Kombat 11 health bar system, having a Mortal Kombat 11 collaboration would be quite silly, as they've just finished significant updates and content for their most recent title, Mortal Kombat 1. They also only like doing collaboration skins with their older titles Mortal Kombat 2 and Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, with most of the collab skins being classic ninjas. So, who could possibly receive a skin for the Mortal Kombat collaboration? I'll be showcasing which Overwatch 2 hero could receive a skin for Mortal Kombat, but of course not everyone would be in the collab. I'd also be guessing from all the Mortal Kombat titles, as you never know what they could pull. I truly believe that if the collab were to be true, that they'd only add Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Raiden, Kitana, and maybe Liu Kang, as they're the characters that they usually like to use with the collaborations. But again, I want to showcase all of my ideas out. To start off my predictions, I believe that Genji would be Scorpion, just with the nature of both of them being ninjas, classic ones at that, as well as having similar weapons. Understandably, you'd have Hanzo be Sub-Zero, as they have both killed their brothers, both referencing as related brothers and as best friends. This pairing makes an excellent argument. Hanzo could also be Kung Jin, as they both share having a bow as their primary weapon of choice. But Kung Jin isn't very popular, so his appearance seems unlikely here, and I'm more in favour of Hanzo being Sub-Zero. I'd also wager that Reaper would be Noob Saibot for obvious reasons. He could also play as Smoke too, with the idea coming from his Wraith ability looking like a cloud of smoke. Ramachu could be an amazing Goro when it comes to his Nemesis form. Just ignore his appearance in his normal form. Doomfist could make for a cool Geras, and you could argue that Doomfist commits his actions for the greater good and justify being Geras. Doomfist could also go for the Jax Briggs look, but this choice seems more unlikely than Geras. Darman could also be another candidate with a much more fitting personality, but Darman is very niche nowadays, and I feel like more popular characters would be prioritised. He's not off the table though. Cassidy has a lot of charm and charisma, so he could play as Johnny Cage. He could also be Kung Lao with a hat and cockiness ordeal. Another more on-the-nose choice could be Aaron Black, again with their sassy, cocky attitudes and also both of them being cowboys. If they want to go for a gender swap, I don't advise it, but Anna could be Kano for the elephant in the room, her missing eye. However, she isn't a bad guy in the Overwatch universe, so this guess isn't confident. Torbjorn could also be a candidate for the same reason, but I'm not sure if the height difference would be an issue for them. Echo can make for an amazing chameleon. Chameleon with a K, not a C. That's a different character. However, she can only transform into female ninjas, but they also could go the route of being Shang Tsung, as he can become anyone regardless of their gender. Sojin could easily play the role of Sonya Blade, and no, I don't want to hear about skin tones and ethnicity. Those characteristics should not restrict who can cosplay who. I also want to make a joke about how Sojourn could also play as Tanya, as both of them share the same voice actor for both Overwatch 2 and Mortal Kombat 1, and how Tanya in Mortal Kombat 1 is a bodyguard and not an evil traitor. Sombra could be Reptile due to her invisible ability, but I'm not sure where turning into an actual reptile could come into play. Zenyatta could portray Liu Kang, with both being a peaceful monk with kicking moves in their kits. Mauga could surprise us and portray Blaze, with the idea stemming from Mauga's cardiac overdrive ability. Mei could cosplay as Frost, however Mei being a good guy and Frost being a bad guy may not mesh well, but if we ignore that factor then the choice is obvious. Of course Kiriko needs to fit in somewhere, so she could be Jade with the idea of being a teleporter that wants to help and bodyguard where she can, all while replacing her kunais with glaives. Orisa would be Mataro with the robotic horse-like appearance, with again ignoring gender. Even though Reinhardt is the kindest, gentle giant you could ever come across, you can't deny the idea of him cosplaying as the almighty Shao Kahn. Plus he's received some evil skins in the past, so that isn't new for him. They also both wield a hammer, so this just seems like a given. Although this idea is quite a stretch, Mercy and Moira could portray Cyrex and Sector respectively. This idea just sounds cool to me, and they are more alike than you'd think. Their skin tone and race aren't visible in their robotic forms, so this idea can easily be achieved. Lucio could cosplay as Cabal, what with both their super speedy abilities. Widowmaker's purple energy and long hair, plus her cold demeanor, would fit Sindel, especially if you want to compare Widowmaker to the horrific Mortal Kombat 11 retcon that they did for Sindel. Widowmaker could also super lean into the Spider-Bug persona and embody Devourer, as they're both not at all good guys in their respective stories. Soldier 76 would obviously be Striker, as Soldier 76 emits hardcore cop energy. Freya would fit quite well into playing Fujin, what with their similar hairstyles and crossbow as their weapon of choice. It also fits with Mortal Kombat 1's retcon of Fujin being a woman now. Junkrat's chaotic energy and missing limbs make him a perfect candidate to cosplay as Havoc, as they both love to cause chaos wherever they go. With Roadhog being a large character, he could 100% cosplay as Boraicho, and just swap out his canister with a bottle of some kind of alcohol such as wine or sake. I've taken some creative liberties with Diva's choice by comparing her to Li Mei. We've already got the skin idea of Diva being encased in a house, Shinryon, so you could have her cosplaying Li Mei with the mech being a house from Sun Do, the village she protects. They both want to protect their home countries with all their life and ability. I have this funny idea that Juno could portray Mocap. The idea of the skin just seems to fit so well with Juno's design. However, Mocap is another niche character, so this seems even more unlikely. I'd love to see it. Wrecking Ball was a tough one to find a match with, but I think Moloch fits the bill, what with him holding a giant orb-like weapon that looks like a wrecking ball. But yet again, Moloch is also super niche, so again, this probably won't happen. I feel like either Zaya or Jungle Queen would fit the idea of being Shiva, as they're both super strong women dominating male fields. However, I'm not sure how they will, or will not, implement having two sets of arms, and you don't want to jeopardize Zaya or Jungle Queen's silhouettes. However, Jungle Queen also has another candidate, and that's being Kira, as they both wield a knife in their kit, and they are both women who are ready to take big risks to achieve their goals. Farah's wings on her suit could help her case in being Natara, as Natara was never really a bad guy in the original timeline, but instead sat on the sidelines and done what benefited her, yet still being loyal and reliable. Tracer being a source for good everywhere, who also has a cheeky but charming personality, aids my choice into fitting her with Cassie Cage, with both of them being dual pistol wielders. It would be an absolute waste of everyone's time if Ash with Bob did not cosplay as Farah with Tor. You're just losing money not using the idea. Lifeweaver's love for nature fits the bill with Cetron being the embodiment of Mother Nature herself. Symmetra's design and bleak personality and outlook reflects quite well with Kronika's. However, considering Kronika's only appearance was being the big bad boss in Mortal Kombat 11, and also being a very small quote-unquote appearance in Mortal Kombat 1, doesn't make this cosplay seem likely. Sigma's ability kit and concept fit being Chronica quite well, more so than Symmetra's does, if they're comfortable with gender bending. Finally, Bastion being a silent character that falls apart when he dies makes a good fit for Meat, but he's another joke character that most likely won't be added. I couldn't find a match for everyone. I really wanted to fit Kitana and Melina somewhere, but I didn't know how to. What do you guys think of my theory and cosplay ideas? What would you add or change? Let me know in the comment section below.